When and how did the Cold War start? Have you ever wondered how the Cold War began and what events led to this intense period of rivalry? The Cold War started after World War II, rooted in the clash between the Soviet Union and the United States. The Soviet Union, a communist state, emerged from the war with a strong military presence in Eastern Europe. They established communist governments in countries they had liberated from Nazi control. This expansion was seen by the United States and its Western allies as a threat to democracy and capitalism in Europe. As the wartime alliance between the Soviet Union and the Western powers began to crumble, tensions rose. One of the key moments was the Soviet Union's rejection of the United States-led Marshall Plan. This plan aimed to rebuild Western European economies to prevent the spread of communism. In response, the Soviet Union created the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance, an organization to support communist states, further dividing Europe into opposing sides. In 1947, the United States announced its policy of containment. This policy aimed to stop the spread of communism worldwide. A significant early confrontation occurred during the Berlin Blockade from 1948 to 1949. The Soviet Union tried to cut off Allied access to West Berlin. The United States responded with the Berlin airlift, supplying West Berlin by air for almost a year. This action showed their determination to resist Soviet pressure without engaging in direct military conflict. The arms race also played a major role in escalating the Cold War. The development and testing of nuclear weapons heightened fears of a nuclear conflict. The United States worked on its hydrogen bomb program, while the Soviet Union tested its first atomic bomb in 1949. This race for nuclear supremacy was a constant threat during this period. Operation Dropshot was a United States plan developed in the late 1940s. It reflected the anticipation of a possible war with the Soviet Union, highlighting the nuclear threat that loomed over the world. From the Soviet perspective, the Cold War was seen as a defensive struggle against Western attempts to contain and undermine their influence. They aimed to secure their borders by establishing friendly communist governments in Eastern Europe. The arms race and nuclear threat were viewed by the Soviet Union as part of the West's strategy to intimidate the communist bloc. The Cold War began soon after World War II due to conflicting visions for Europe's future and the ideological opposition between capitalism and communism. Key events like the Marshall Plan, the Berlin Blockade, and the buildup of nuclear arms set the stage for decades of political and military rivalry.